It is that time. It is time to talk about the Cybercab revelations, what I got to see at the shareholder meeting, what we learned, what we can deduce, and what they tried to hide. But you can't hide from me, man. I know what I'm looking at. Let's have a chat. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. Hey, this is a live thing I'm doing because I need to get it out there. And I only had one video up today. And that's not like me, man. I've just been very busy, as you know. I did want to say a huge thanks to everyone for getting me there. Uh, for getting me the +1 ticket. Thank you, Chris, for that, for a place to stay. Thank you, Patrick, for dragging me around sometime. Thank you to Torquil, who's in the chat. Awesome. Thank you for that. Guys, it was a lot of fun. We had a great time. And even if you don't get a ticket, you should join us. You should join us because there's before parties, there's after parties, there's during parties. For those who don't get in, you get to see all your favorite creators and ask crazy, amazing, deep questions, which is what you guys do. And I love it. So the first thing is I got there, I get in, uh, and there's a tour, a factory tour. Now I had seen a factory tour in 23, but that was when there was serious threats against Tesla and Elon. They were just popping up for the first time. There had been a credible threat of harm. So a lot of things were scaled back, and all I got to see was the catwalk above final assembly of the Model Y. It was a waste of my time. There was no information there. Can't take pictures, can't record anything. You could probably jot down notes. They'd probably let you do that. I don't know. I didn't try. So I went up to an employee and said, "Is this just the catwalk above final assembly?" And the employee, the random employee I stopped, said, "No, Brian, it is definitely something you will want to see." And that was like, whoa. So random employee knows who I am. That's a good sign. That is a very promising sign. And I'll have more about that at the end. But I will say that just wandering around, there were plenty of employees who came up and said hello because they have seen the channel. Not executives, but I didn't see very many executives up close and personal. Maybe they're big fans too, but I know they are watching some of these channels. I know they watch Herbert's channel. I know they watch some of the others, and I'm on those channels, so it's good. That is a foot in the door, but again, I will discuss that at the end. Don't forget to like, by the way. We've got the chat up here going, and we've got and the likes are free, the chat's free, and where you at, and what's your weather like? Let's talk about the Cybercab, shall we? First thing to mention is that I will be in Florida. I'm leaving on Wednesday. I'll be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and all day Monday. I leave Tuesday. Huge thanks to Paul from Clean Technica, who is letting me stay at his condo. Again, that's why I'm able to do this. I've been using Sky Miles. I'm almost out, so I will not be booking more trips unless it's like something really important. I will be at the Chattanooga Charge in March. This is going to be a big fun one. Join us, won't you? If you're in Tampa and want to say hello, just let me know. Hey, I did not realize that you were an employee. Interesting. Very cool. Appreciate it. So, what have we got going on here? The first thing to mention is that no photos were allowed. So while I can't, and people go, "Oh, you could sneak one in." I'm not going to do that. Your house, your rules. You invited me in. I'm following your rules. That's just how it works. If you don't invite me in, and I don't, sign an NDA, all bets are off. And I will say that I asked the tour guide. I said, I'm not going to take pictures or anything like that, but I'm allowed to like recount my tales, right? Say, well, absolutely. We're giving you information for that reason. So that's not what they won't tell you anything that is beyond the scope that would require, a real serious NDA. They will choose to not answer questions. So the first thing you see with the Cybercab is a mock-up of it in 5 pieces, front, back, left, right, and the main frame. And when you walk up to it, people take the pieces that are all on rollers, and they just wheel them together. So if you can't wrap your head around unboxed, it's a very great visual, a very easy way to do it. You can see all of this can be built separately and then just put together. Traditional cars can't do that. It's all built piece by piece, one at a time. So the length of the line must be at least the length of the car, probably longer. Of course, longer, you need a gap in between. But with this, each piece is only as big as the piece, only as wide as tall as the piece. Not new information there. Then we got to look at some Model Y stuff. We got to walk the Cybercab line or the Cybertruck line. not the whole line, part of it. And then partway down, we got to see the wiring harness for the Cybercab. Now I've had questions. Oh my gosh, Brian, you've walked the Cybercab line. No, 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 no. That's in a different part of the building entirely. We didn't get to see the line itself. The video we saw at the shareholder meeting was the most insightful bit of actual manufacturing we've seen. This just had some exhibits. And he said, look at this wiring harness. And we looked at it. He goes, isn't it complicated? And Xander was on the tour with me. And Cern Basher was on the tour with me. And we all looked at it and said, no, it's not. So while I can't show you a picture, what I can show you, I think will give you a good idea of what a normal wiring harness looks like. It looks like this. That's what a normal wiring harness looks like. And the Cybercab, again, I can't show you the actual picture, but I think you'll agree it looked more like this. Yeah, it was very simple. It wasn't confusingly large. The number of elements to it was low enough that you could wrap your head around it. I have a bigger head than average, so I think I did pretty good with that. What we saw in the wiring harness, there were two big clues that stood out to me. The first was right in the middle, right at the top. There is what I'm going to call the communication dome, big flat thing that I believe will sit underneath the roof, which is probably not metal, but plastic or polymer, something that would permit the transmission of signals with less interruption. Well, communication, like why? I mean, my car drives fine without that. Yours might, but the robotaxis in Austin have this in the back window. What is that? Communication. It is to boost your signal, presumably. If it's 5G, it can boost it. If it's not 5G, you can get Starlink. Well, why would it matter? The car can drive anywhere. Yes, yes. But if you're in a ravine that doesn't have good coverage, if you're in the winding up through the hills and the coverage isn't great, if you look at the 5G map of the country, it looks like this. And if I want to drive everywhere, it would be nice if I could drive everywhere, including those little dark patches. Those aren't areas they've chosen not to cover. Those are areas that are hilly, complicated. You'd have to put towers much more frequently for much fewer people. And you can see even the 5G is not everywhere. The 4G is much more places, but good coverage at all is not everywhere. You don't want a particular neighborhood with no coverage where the topography prevents good signals. So that's when you get to the better coverage, which would look a little bit more like this. This is the Starlink map. We can zoom out and see. It's kind of tough to see, but the idea is this is the global Starlink map. That's where they are. That's where the satellites are. Let's get back into Texas here. And the more you zoom in, the more satellites you see. The satellites are everywhere. And they're moving, as you can see, in different directions all the time. That's your Starlink. I'm confident there is Starlink in there, not as a primary means of communication, but as a backup. Well, Starlink can use cell signals. Yeah, but let's use a real antenna so we can get more data pushed through. If there's something complicated, if they need to see all the cameras, for example, maybe there's something very peculiar going on, you'll want that. That was in the wiring harness. Long walk to get you down that road. Okay. The next thing I saw in the wiring harness was the wires that go out to the wheels. We confirmed with them. This is 48 volt. Yeah, it's 48 volt. We've known that. I confirmed that with the engineers when I got to chat with them at Santana Row last year, I guess now. My goodness, where does the time go? I had an opportunity to confirm that with them. They confirmed again. Yeah, 48 volt all the way, baby. So the wires are very thin. But some of the wires going out to each wheel were thicker. And you could tell because the insulation that they put on over it ended about this far from the end of from the terminal. And what's that for? Why would you need a thicker wire going out to the wheel? Brake-by-wire. Brake-by-wire. And we did ask, is it going to be brake-by-wire? And he said, I can't really talk about that right now. Okay. That's what that wire is for. There's a possibility that Brembo's brake-by-wire system they've been developing for over a decade, for some reason, isn't ready. And if it isn't ready, so be it. I'm sure they could jam in a hydraulic system. Wouldn't be what they want, but they could do it. but it is wired. It is designed for brake by wire. And that's critical to the unbox method. Having a hydraulic line that runs the length of the car is prohibitive in the unboxed system. You want everything to be able to clip together, which wires do very easily in hydraulic systems, less so. Not impossible, just kind of a pain. Creates a potential for error. Don't want that. You don't want that. So then you've got what's my next slide here? Oh, yes, the motor. Let's talk about that. They had some motors on display. This isn't one of them. This is I don't know. This is from the internet. This is a showroom, I suspect, but that is the Plaid drivetrain. It doesn't look like the current one. This might be an early Plaid drivetrain. Plaid is two motors stuck together. It's very good, but they showed four generations of motors. The oldest one, so the Y, the Plaid, and the newest one, the Cybercab one. And what he said is, isn't it amazing how small the Cybercab motor is? And I said, it's the size of a turkey. And someone asked me, why would you say such a thing? The size of a turkey. I said, because I don't have a camera and I have to remember it. It's the size of a turkey. Well, I said, to reiterate, this isn't going to have 3, 4, 500 horsepower. This is going to be under 100 horsepower, right? He said, well, I can't discuss the details, but you don't want throw you back in your seat acceleration in a cab. I said, right. And it's going to be governed at 85. That's what the engineers had strongly suggested to me when I talked to them. And he said, well, you can't go more than 85, 90 legally anywhere. So you can do with that information what you would like. You don't need a ton of horsepower. So my question is, why is it the size of a turkey instead of a lunchbox? Got to stick to the theme here. My theory is they're not going to be using rare earth materials. The rare earths, I'll skip to that because in 23, they told us they're going to be making motors without the rare earths. If you want to make 1,000,000 of something, if you want to make 2, 4, 8 million of something, if you want to make that many in a year, you need to simplify. You need to not be dependent on countries that could randomly throw a wrench into your whole operation. The elimination of rare earths means you can get the materials from almost any country, certainly any country with sufficient land area, but you could get them. And that means the motor would be bigger. It might take something the size of a turkey to get you to the 100-ish horsepower range. The other thing I noticed is that, because there was a cutaway showing the inside, it had hairpin motors, hairpin wiring, which looks like this. Making sure I'm showing it. It is the hairpin. A traditional one older ones just had wound copper, just wire, and newer ones have these flat wires. Now, I got to talk to an engineer from Siemens at the North America Battery Show last year, and I asked, is the size of those hairpins determined by physics or manufacturing process difficulties? And the engineers said, "Well, I have no idea." Fortunately, another engineer overheard and stepped up and said, what was the question? I go, is this optimized for the physics of the motor or optimized for the manufacturing process? And she said, it's always optimized to the physics. If you're going to put in that kind of work to get to the ideal magnetic shape for the motor, you're going to just make it the best you can. There's no reason to cut corners at that point. So it is optimized in that way. So it is my belief that no rare earths. It's going to make Cybercab much easier to produce. The motor will be cheaper. It'll be bulkier, but they have the real estate to give up. They don't need to shave those 14 pounds, maybe 25 pounds. It is better to have an affordable motor than something that is ultra compact. We do know that it is not designed. They have reiterated, Elon, now in 2 different interviews and as well at the shareholder meeting, this is not going to be a full meat-driven car. The introduction of a compliance-mandated wheel for fine-tune operations at endpoints is not the same thing as a car you and I can drive. One way to look at it is, while you may enjoy riding in a limo. No one enjoys driving a limo. It's very much optimized for the experience of the passenger and not the driver. If you wanted a limo that is ideal for the driver, it would be a very different product. That is not what they're doing. So that is the takeaway from that. We're going to have an opportunity here. I'm going to keep this video to 30 minutes. So we've got about 15 minutes to answer questions. Um, but I did want to mention, I mentioned at the beginning that I would talk more about my potential for being invited to events in the future. And there are two reasons that can happen. The first is they do have people who are now in charge of making sure that the right people are coming to these events, and more employees than ever know who I am, including the people who put the lists together. I had a chance to talk with one of them in July and again this week, and she assured me that this is an error that will be corrected in the future. They also reached out to some other content creators you may know and said, we're looking to put together a core 30 people who need to be given attention so that they can cover products, cover whatever it is we're doing. And that person assured me that he believes I belong on that list. And he said, Brian is one of those people that needs to be on that list. So there we go with that. Let's get into your questions. If you have questions, ask them now. I may run the full 30 minutes. I may not. Just depends how much fun we're having. I'm having fun all the time. Am I? Usually. This week was very special being in Austin with all the great people. There were only a few very conspicuous absences, and I won't call him out by name. Yo, Brian, it's your taxi driver. I got home after 1 a.m. Great chat. Yeah, the Tunnies, I've hung out with him before. He joined us at Terry Black's. And then afterwards at, what was it called? Habana restaurant. Great Cuban restaurant. Yeah. And we all hung out, had a great time. I leave for Mexico next week for Mexico to help suppliers. Ooh, that's exciting. That's good. I have been to Monterrey to try and see the site of Giga Mexico. And unfortunately, I've got a video coming out with Herbert, not tomorrow, but the next day, where we talked about it's unfortunate that we didn't hear anything about Mexico in the shareholder meeting. Unfortunate, but do have a great trip. Yes. Johan, yes, you are here. You are here. Johan is the one who suggested Habana, and it was a great restaurant, great people there. Yeah, it was a great visual demonstration, pushing the pieces of the Cybercab together. It's not how they're actually, I mean, obviously they won't be on rolling wheels, on rolling casters with a person on each side. But if you don't understand it, a lot of people don't. I did get to talk to a Cybercab engineer out front who was standing next to the Cybercab that was on display, and he was happy to answer what questions he could. I asked why the doors had changed, and he said, egress, ingress. It's just about ergonomics. We found that just by moving the shape of the door, changing it a little bit, made it a lot easier. So we did it. That's it. Bless the employees whose hard work brought my Model 3 all-wheel drive with stock profits alone. Bought it for me. Free car. With purchase of stock at the right time. Let's see what else we got here. I'm hungry now. Oh, Terry Black's, man. There is also very good barbecue all over, really. Rudy's is very good and about half the price. But Terry Black's is kind of an experience because when you go there, you will bump into Tesla fans if you're there for an event, because it's like it's our pork mecca. I don't think that's a thing. That's definitely not a thing, but it is the place that you must go. You must make a pilgrimage to Terry Black's at some point. Does a robo van fit in the Boring Company's tunnels? It does not. It is too large. If you look at the diameter of the tunnel, you can see Cybertrucks driving it. You can see they barely fit. And the robo van is much bigger. It's not only wider, but it's taller and is mostly brick shaped, meaning I've done the math. You would have about an inch of clearance on the top on each side, which is insufficient. You would be scraping constantly. But The RoboVan is not on the production roadmap just yet. Elon even said, a couple years we may be able to think about it, which means it's just not on the roadmap. That will come. That will happen. As the Vegas tunnel, the loop reaches out to the stadiums and the airport, you will need more than seating for 2 or 3 or even 4. Running from the airport to Luxor, you're going to need 10, 20 people's worth of capacity to move enough people. I mean, even 10 would be probably fine, but clearing out an arena after an event, it's going to take a lot of people. It's going to take a lot of people. Mountains of Arkansas have scary roads and no cell phone coverage. Exactly. That's why you need the a boosted 5G signal. It might be able to get a 5G signal where you and I could not, or a 4G signal. You can put stronger antennas and transmitters in there. But if it doesn't, you can, as long as you can see the sky, you'll probably be okay. How many lunch boxes to a turkey? It depends how you slice it. But tree fitty, I think that's about right. And is it an imperial turkey or a metric turkey? Oh, I love it. I don't know. You almost cost, what? Where did I lose it? You almost, where I lost it. Have you clicked a like button today? When my wife tells me I'm on her list, it's usually a bad thing. A lot of, oh, there it is. You need to be on that list. I do. And it seems I may be. What I say is, I may be on that list, but I'm definitely on other lists. I did ask after not getting into all the events of the past few months. I said, is there a big picture of me up in the office that says, do not take checks from this man? I don't know how that works, but she said, no, definitely not. So hopefully that is true and accurate. Any word on wireless charging? There will be so many. Yes, but it's very easy, because don't think of it from the perspective of how you and I would charge it. We're not robots. I had someone say the doors won't fit in my garage. I said, why are you getting out of your car in the garage? Get out where it's convenient for you. Let the car park. If you could park in a much smaller garage, a garage where no one could open a door and your car would still fit. You're not in it. It's not about us. It's about the car. So imagine at a service center, they've just got a bunch of pads out back in the drive area. And at night, they just all come in, line up, and just, we need one out. The front one goes. Everybody, all the cars in that line move forward one spot. Fine. Or they just stay there until the back is full, and then they all move forward. I mean, there's plenty of room. And because they only charge, according to the patent, at a maximum of 25 kilowatts, it's not like they need liquid cooling. They're very simple. Something that could currently handle a 250 kilowatt charger could handle 10 Cybercabs. And I don't mean the cabinet. I just mean the transformers, the cabinets, the lines, all of that could handle it. Let's see. How much more bullish on Tesla future did the trip make you? None, because I follow it so closely. There were no real surprises. The only real surprise was that they want to get into chip fabrication, but I'm not convinced I believe it. But it certainly helped my mood and my motivation. It was a jumpstart I needed to prevent, or at least prolong, burnout. And you get to talk with great people. I've got some interviews coming up soon with big Tesla names from the Tesla creator community who I've been trying to get on the show for years and years. They're finally coming on because they've gotten to hang out with me and understand what I know and understand how I communicate. And that's really meaningful to me. That means a lot to me. HEB barbecue is great. Interesting. I'll have to check it out. Where do you believe AI computer will sit in the Cybercab? Under the dash, maybe? Up in the front? The frunk cannot be opened. That's a whole mechanical area. So it could be up there somewhere. Like the stream, guys. Come on. Yeah, Havanas. There it is. Yep. Any idea why the VA Clinic Austin is blocked out, even though it's within the boundary? Might be a military requirement. It might be listed as a military facility, in which case it might be not permissible. That's the only guess I would have. I was unaware that it was blocked out. The next factory, which is built, you'll need to measure it in turkeys. Somebody asked me to measure Giga Texas in hamsters. So I did. unaware that Elon had measured Giga Nevada in hamsters, but he meant cubic hamsters jammed in like dead corpses, I guess. That's not how you measure it. You have to keep them alive. So I went ahead and did the math. I measured it stacking them in cages with room to walk in between. I I did it the real way because I'm an analyst. I didn't realize I could just divide the volume of a building by the volume of a hamster. Very silly. Uh-huh. Just tow a people seats trailer behind the Cybertruck. Oh, I get what you mean. A tram wouldn't even need to be a Cybertruck. You could do it with a Model Y. The road is reasonably flat and straight. Yeah, you could do that. Um, I don't think they will. I don't think they will. It'd be pretty funny though. Just has to know something about regulations we don't. What was your takeaway when Elon said he expects capacity cyber ramp at par with regulations? Great question. Herbert brought that up in a show that will run tomorrow or the next day that we recorded this morning. Cybercab, robotaxis don't have to be approved. In the US, you have tacit approval everywhere. Tesla and Waymo and others are waiting for explicit approval because the last thing you want to do is build out the infrastructure, roll out the product and service, spend all that money, and then have the state go, oh, wait. No, we don't want this. If you'd have gone to Massachusetts, you would have been allowed, but you would find that now you're about to be banned in Boston. So they're waiting for them to give explicit approval. Just states that have explicit approval, California, Florida, Texas, others, Arizona, just those could absorb years of production. And during that time, more states would get on board and provide explicit permissions as well. So that's what I believe he means. And there are countries that will immediately adopt it. Boom, the whole country's unlocked. In you go. Plenty of market. So I think that the market, and if you live next to a state that has it and it is the bee's knees, you will pressure your state to get on the ball. Let's see. Great energy in the first two rows. Yeah. So the front row was, of course, the board and some very large gentlemen attending by themselves while wearing earpieces. Wait a minute, that's security. I was very impressed with their security setup. The parts you could see, I'm confident there was a ton you could not see. I'm impressed with them as well. It's important. We've only got about 2 minutes left. Would a grand jury indict a hamster sandwich? Yes. The hamster wheel of justice turns slowly. It's like they always say, right? You know what they say about the hamster wheel of justice. Hello, is the Model P it's the Model P conspiracy theory guy. You remember the Tesla site immediately? That's right. So this account just typed in every letter of the alphabet. Model 3, Model Y, Model A, B, C, D, E. But the Model P redirected to had an out-of-date Cybertruck reservation page under Model P. Weird. And as soon as the new Y was launched, that page was deleted. How long for Elon? Well, this will be the last question. How long for Elon to hit his targets? If Elon hits all 12 milestones, but the market cap only goes to 1.999 trillion, he gets zero. If he does nothing at all, Tesla will hit 20 million vehicles sold. That's a good one. Oh, thank you, Rob. That's an easy milestone to hit, but you've got to hit the market cap too. And if you're only going to hit that one milestone, but none of the others, you won't unlock any of the market cap tranches. So which ones will hit first? I do not know. When people say these are autopilot easy milestones, I say name two that are going to happen no matter what. The only one they can name is they will hit 20 million cars. I agree, they will. That's cumulative. Absolutely. Yes, they will. The others, I'm not convinced at all. So I don't have an answer. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on that. How long? Yeah. Wheel of Fortune, justice. Yeah. Hopefully you can afford to buy a vowel. Watch Your Ride with Josh. Will passengers be permitted in the driver's seat of a Model Y? No, I don't think so. I think it'd be a control safety issue, not because you would maliciously grab the wheel, but perhaps instinctively. at some point. All milestones. When will he hit all of them? Maybe never. But it might take 8 or 10 years to hit all of them. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't analyzed that enough yet, and I need to talk to more experts in each of the various fields. Robots, there's some obstacles that are still over the horizon. Durability of actuators, especially in the hands, is challenging. You and I can do a repetitive task every day because we heal. Robots don't heal. They can maybe fix themselves, maybe fix each other. We don't know how that's going to work. Guys, thank you for hanging out. What did I miss? What did I misunderstand? All that good stuff. Thank you for your support. Thank you for making sure I get to these events. Thank you for, helping me out with rooms and rides and meals and whatnot. It's the reason I'm able to do it, because this YouTube thing doesn't pay well the way I do it, which is by telling you the truth. It would be so easy to tell you the sexy lies I know you want to hear, but that's not who I am. So I'm not an influencer. I'm an analyst. It's how it works. Uh, Guys, maybe if you're in Tampa next week, let me know. Like, subscribe, do all the usual things, and stay tuned, stay juicy. And I cannot wait to hear from you, you clever robots, when next we get an opportunity to actually meet in person.